Avenue Radio.
Are you a small business owner in Seattle who was impacted by COVID-19? The Seattle Office of Economic Development is investing $8 million to connect small businesses to operating capital. The Small Business Capital Access Program will lower the cost of Washington State Small Business Flex Fund loans by paying down 25% of the loan principal. Eligible small businesses can borrow up to $150,000 with a 4% interest rate to cover expenses like payroll, rent, utilities, and supplies.
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station.
This is Cindy Bray, the host of Heartbeat Radio.
This is Paul Thierson, host of Star
This
Time.
is Paul Schneiderman today on the 73rd edition.
Hey,
of
y'all,
Sports
welcome
Stuff
to
on
Travelers
Rainier
Guides
Avenue
with
Radio.
Princess Robin.
Yes, no,
Your home for information about the impact of the
And
coronavirus.
amongst many things that's difficult about this virus is that it
Well,
prevents
it's been
people from
devastating.
gathering. So
There are really heartbreaking stories of people who have.
There isn't anyone that isn't impacted.
shutting our schools down, including all athletic programs.
Your first-hand accounts.
The idea took the test, and I found out that I was positive.
A lot of people who know me, I'm still the first person they know.
But it was almost like you were patient zero for South Seattle. Your stories of community coming together.
Partner very heavily with Tacoma Urban League, who is doing some amazing work in response.
We're doing things for small businesses. We're giving out loans for small businesses. We're
I think it's very important that we have leaders who feel
I cannot tell you we're calling 20, 30, 40
this
members.
crisis in our community. We've been working to address it.
Rainier Avenue Radio, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
DJ Dirty John.
Karen Z with Rainier Avenue Radio.
Hey, this is Sergio Cool. Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Rainier Avenue Radio.world. We got you covered. Local impact, global presence.
Broadcast. Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio.world and our weekly coverage of the impact of communities. Situation of our series. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us again here. And then again, now we are aware of the fact that we are and more folks listening to that.
Do you want to reach out to the Vietnamese community in Seattle? Just advertise in Le Viet Tây Bắc, that is Northwest Vietnamese News, the longest running Vietnamese language newspaper in our region. Go to nvnorthwest.com.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not being reprimanded by traffic cops, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Ay Pilipino, ang dugo'y mahal mo ikaw. Likas sa aking puso.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat, saan man po kayo naroon, wherever you are in the world. Ito po ang Fil-Am Radio Show, broadcasting live every Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Shuttle time. That's every Wednesday from 4 to 5:30 a.m. Philippine time and 6 to 7:30 a.m. Australia time. Through the magic of StreamYard and the facilities of Rainier Avenue Radio.world in Seattle, Washington, USA. Ito po si Mel Salvador at ang aking pong mga kasama ay...
Hi, Kuya Bert Caoili.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Vicky Navarro with King County Public Health and Linda Hand Community Outreach. Hi, family. How's everyone doing?
Good, thank you. Our producer is Daniel Velez of Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Our program is internet-based, so you can listen and watch live right now saan man kayo naroroon, anywhere in the world. Just log on to www.rainieravenueradio.world or in YouTube. Hanapin po lamang ang Fil-Am Radio Show episode 242 na po tayo ngayon. Our producer, Daniel Belas, this is being recorded by our producer, Daniel Belas, so you can watch later at your own convenience through the Facebook page of Rainier Avenue Radio.world, YouTube, or through my Facebook page, Kuya Bert, Timeline, Bert's Angels, or Vicky Navarro. Just look for Fil-Am Radio Show episode 242. So for now, just relax and enjoy your show. Thank you. Salamat po. At pakinggan po natin si Kuya Bert sa kanyang opening prayer. Let's bow our heads.
Heavenly Father, as we prepare for today's broadcast, we ask you to bless our friends, supporters, and those we care deeply for, especially those who are watching our program right now, wherever they are around the world. Where there is joy, give them continued joy. Where there is pain, give them your peace and mercy. Where there is self-doubt, release a renewed confidence. Where there is a need, fulfill their needs. Above all, thank you for giving us friends and family to share the blessing that you have bestowed on us each and every day here on earth. May love, humility, forgiveness, and peace reign in our hearts from this day forward. In Jesus' holy name, amen.
Amen. So, our opening song is Seattle by Perry Como.
And
Thank you.
The bluest skies you've ever seen are in Seattle, and the hills the greenest green in Seattle. Like a beautiful child growing up free and wild, full of hopes and full of fears, full of laughter, full of tears, full of dreams to last the years in Seattle. In Seattle, when it's time to leave your home and your loved ones, it's the hardest thing a boy can ever do. And you pray that you will find someone warm and sweet and kind, but you're not sure what's waiting there for you. The bluest skies you've ever seen are in Seattle, and the hills the greenest green in Seattle. Like a beautiful child growing up free and wild, full of hopes and full of fears, full of laughter, full of tears, full of dreams to last the years in Seattle. In Seattle. When you find your own true love, you will know it by her smile, by the look in her eye. Scent of pine trees in the air, never knew a day so fair. It makes you feel so proud that you could cry. The bluest sky you ever seen are in Seattle, and the hills the greenest green in Seattle. Like a beautiful child growing up free and wild, full of hopes and full of fears, full of laughter, full of tears, full of dreams to last the years in Seattle. In Seattle. In Seattle.
Yan po ang Seattle by Perry Como. Kuya Bert, Vicky, I just want to acknowledge people who are watching right now. Vicky, Violet Navarro,
Hello,
thank you very
Panay.
much.
Thank you for watching.
Irving Mendoza said, hello
Hello,
again,
brother.
Kuya Bert, Miles, Vicky, and to your special guest, happy Tuesday. And Efren Pasqua said, good
Kuya.
afternoon, beautiful people. Have a pleasant day. Same to you, Efren. Have a pleasant day. Yan po.
Okay, I think we have our guests waiting in the
Yes.
background there, so
Yeah.
maybe time to call him in.
Yes, let's
Right?
welcome Franky Ferra and Katelynne Gardner Toren from King County
All
Public
right,
Health.
welcome.
Yay!
Here we
Welcome.
go.
Yay!
You know,
Here we
this is
go.
a very important topic to talk about, and we have the best people who could tell us more about this new or an old pandemic. So
Yeah.
maybe
So
Vicky would start our interview
yeah.
process.
Yeah.
We want to know
Well,
more about them, of
yeah.
course, before we ask them to speak on this very important subject.
Well, I want to, on behalf of our team today, we want to welcome you, Katelynne. Caitlin or Caitlin? Is it Caitlin? And Franky.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi. So today's show, this is about health and wellness, right? So sometimes, we want to learn about our about health prevention, and our program overview today is about tuberculosis. TB is one of the most world-leading infectious disease killer. Without medication, TB disease can develop from TB infections. Millions of people in the United States have TB infections, with a higher chance of having it if you were born in Asia, Africa, or Latin America, where TB disease is more common. This radio show today will share the basic about TB disease and infections, and as well as what can you do to prevent TB disease. Well, welcome both of you, Franky and
Yay!
Caitlin. So,
Hi, Caitlin.
it's when it comes to health and wellness, usually some families don't really be educated about certain diseases, and sometimes they just go straight to the doctor when they feel something. So today we're so excited to have you both here to learn about tuberculosis. So let's hear about each and one of you, about your what's your role here in King County Public Health, and let us know after your after we learn about you, and then we can go forward about tuberculosis. Thank you. We can start with you, Franky.
Right. Hi, everybody. Thank you
Hi.
for the opportunity to be on the show. So my name is Franky. I work with public health, specifically its TB control program. My role is a disease research intervention specialist. So essentially contact tracing, right, for TB.
So you live in Seattle, Franky?
Outside of Seattle, very
Outside
close
of
by,
Seattle.
yeah.
So how long have you been involved with this kind of program?
For a year.
For a year?
Yeah.
What's wonderful. And of course, the letters TB is just like as ferocious like IRS, People are scared just to hear the word TB or the letter TB, because especially like Vicky said, especially in Asia, and that includes, of course, our motherland, the Philippines. And there are a lot of Filipinos who might be watching today, and that would be good for the two of you to be able to tell us more about this disease. But before we do that, let's hear from Katelynne. Yeah.
Hi, I'm also very excited to be here. My name is Caitlin, and I work with the tuberculosis program We're within Public Health Seattle and King County. And my current role there is I'm the manager of a new unit that's focused on community TB prevention.
Mm.
You know, right now there's the COVID pandemic that everybody is very concerned about, but it seems like nobody's paying attention to the other pandemic, which I think is even more, it's deadlier than COVID. Is that
Yeah.
right, Kathleen?
Yeah, before COVID, TB was the number one infectious disease killer. So you are right about that. COVID surpassed the numbers in the period of time that it's been around, but for years it's been tuberculosis, and you're right. No one is talking about it. It's kind of gone to the wayside.
And that's ironic because we should really be concerned about that, and because of the fact that, as Vicky mentioned, there are a lot of people who are dying from this disease. I don't even know if the death rate is even worse than COVID. Yet the government is not even talking about TB, and that kind of scares me. So, Franky, what can you say about, first tell us about this tuberculosis, the TB. Why is it so, I would say, feared by many, especially in the Asian area?
Right. So I'll just dive into it, right? Just basic TB information. So TB is caused by a bacteria. This bacteria usually attacks the lungs. But TB bacteria can attack other parts of the body, so like the kidney, the spine, and other parts of the body. Not everyone infected with TB bacteria, though, becomes sick. So because of this, there's two TB-related conditions, right? Latent TB infection or sleeping TB, inactive TB, and then there's TB disease, which I imagine is the one that's more common or folks are more aware of.
Yeah, Kuya Bert, excuse me, Katelynne and Franky. Efren Pascual got a question. Is TB still prevalent in the community, and how serious is the situation? Katelynne?
Yeah, that's a great question. TB is still prevalent locally in King County and Seattle. We see about 100 cases of active TB disease a year. And that's when you're sick and potentially infectious to others. But we estimate that 100,000 people have TB infection. And you aren't sick when you have infection, but you could activate at some point in your life. And we never know exactly when that will happen. And then you are at risk of spreading it to those around you or getting really sick. So that's locally and globally. As I mentioned, it's one of the leading infectious disease killers, and we estimate that a quarter of the world's population does have this infection.
I was going to ask. I heard Franky talk about. I mentioned the word latent. Is that latent or latent TB? Is that different from just the regular term TB?
Yeah, so latent TB infection is pretty much that you have the bacteria, right? A person has the bacteria, but it's not active. The bacteria is not multiplying in the body. So folks with the infection typically they're not sick. They have no symptoms and they cannot spread the bacteria to others.
But they can be active. No one knows when. When it becomes active or when it becomes alive, then that's really dangerous now, right?
Right. Without proper treatment, latent TB infection can become active TB.
So because this is is spread through the air, I guess, when you sneeze or come in contact, and just like COVID, we try to wear masks, how would you differentiate if a person has got TB or COVID? Because we're trying to protect our thing. I guess that's kind of hard to differentiate. What do you think, Kathleen?
Yeah, it's a great question. They do present very similarly. We typically tuberculosis disease is more prolonged in illness, so the cough doesn't go away on its own. It's for weeks. There's extreme weight loss, but a lot of it does present very similarly, and that can be challenging both, for people that are feeling sick and for doctors because people are really thinking COVID right now instead of also thinking tuberculosis. So it's a great question. They present very similarly.
So would you suggest then that people should not get rid of the mask? They should, whether the COVID mandate masking is already, I would say, not necessary. Maybe we should keep on wearing the mask because it can still be a TB problem, right?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we don't know how much impact the masking has had on tuberculosis rates, but we think there might be a contribution there. Of course, we see transmission in households, right, where people aren't masking. But tuberculosis isn't as contagious as COVID. So COVID, I think it's 15 minutes. It's a very brief exposure, whereas tuberculosis, you need a longer duration of time with someone in sort of a close proximity to even be considered exposed. So it's not contagious as COVID.
Okay, Bert, excuse me, Katelynne, Franky, and Vicky. Efren Pasqua got a question. Maybe Franky can answer this. What preventative measures are implemented to minimize the spread of TB? And Irving Mendoza said to Katelynne and Franky, are the symptoms of TB and COVID-19 similar or different in nature? Yeah. Okay, Franky. What preventative measures are implemented to minimize the spread of TB from Efren Pasqua?
I would say maybe early intervention, right? Right when folks are diagnosed with TB infection, seek proper treatment to prevent TB disease, because TB disease is when folks can be contagious or infectious and can spread the bacteria. So I would say early intervention, right when infection is diagnosed, take proper treatment.
So, Katelynne, Irving Mendoza is asking, are the symptoms of TB and COVID-19 similar or different in nature?
Yeah, a lot of them are very similar. So it would be hard to differentiate COVID or tuberculosis or, pneumonia. All of them present fairly similarly.
So would you suggest that everyone should get tested for TB, or only when you feel something different?
Our recommendation is that if you were born in a country where TB is more endemic, so Asia, Africa, Latin America, or you've spent substantial amount of time there, it makes sense to get the test. We also, of course, if someone has an exposure, a known exposure to TB, also offer testing. But as Franky was mentioning, getting tested when you feel healthy allows you to take medication to prevent disease if you do have the infection. So we really want to encourage people to talk to their doctors about getting tested, and if that test is positive, taking preventative treatment.
A lot of our friends are now going back to the Philippines for a visit. Is it possible that during this short time that they would be in the Philippines, that they could contract TB?
It's possible. Brief exposures are not that concerning. So it would be more likely if someone in their family or someone they spent a lot of the time while they were on that visit with was actively sick. So there might be some awareness if someone is, coughing regularly, has been losing weight. But, if they were just going out in the community, and we don't think of brief exposures as being really concerning. So I think they would want to be aware of anyone sick that they were around regularly.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Tay.
Yeah. So I have a question, Katelynne and Franky. It is from me. So what actually are the causes of TB? Katelynne.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
What are actually the causes of TB?
Yeah. What are the causes of TB? So when someone is tuberculosis has been around forever. I think it's one of the oldest diseases, which is why it's really common. And so when people progress to that active state, then they cough out bacteria that can spread to other people and sort of develop this sleeping form of TB, which can go on to be TB disease. So it's been, I think it's one of the longest, human diseases that have existed, and we just haven't gotten to where we've been able to eliminate it, and we're very far from that goal.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, I have can I have a question real quick there?
Yeah.
When you are infected, is it something that you check regularly when you're in go to a doctor's office? And then secondly is, if you are infected, do you have to do some isolation kind of type period? Or what is the protocol of the process if you are infected, an active TB patient?
So I believe right now, with the current overall rates of TB in the U.S., that TB screening is not common with providers. So I believe that's something that you would have to ask, right, to include in your physical or yearly checkups. Like, can I get a TB screening? Especially if you're from these countries, or if you've been exposed recently to somebody with TB. And I'm sorry, I forgot, what was the second part?
The second question is, if you do have disease, and you are in treatment, is this some type of isolation period? It's just like COVID. Do they need to stay home, or is it something that they just take medications and then they're off? And so can you let us know, is there an isolation period between the time frame when you are when your disease is, the TB disease is active, and then also is TB also for all ages? Is that something from a certain age that, or is it so thank you so much.
Right. So if it's latent TB infection, if you have the infection, you cannot spread the TB bacteria to others, right? So there's no need to isolate if you have TB infection. TB disease, though, if it's TB, if the bacteria is at the lungs, or if it's attacking the lungs or the throat, there's a chance that one can be contagious. So at that point, if they are, isolation is then recommended. And yes, TB, I believe TB affects anybody, regardless of age.
Excuse me, I might cut you off. It's time for a first station break. So stay tuned. We'll be back. Thank you.
Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Sa Washington, karamihan ay sang-ayon na ang ating kalsada ay ligtas pag isinangtabi ang telepono. Pero hindi ito madali. Ibahagi ang mensaheng ito at maging halimbawa. Bago umalis, ilagay ang telepono sa glove box. Iset sa Do Not Disturb. Hikayatin ng mga kaibigan at pamilya na gawin din ito. Dahil pag ginawa ang parte natin, ang kalsada ay ligtas para sa lahat. Sabay tayong makakarating doon. Isang mensahe mula sa Washington Traffic Safety Commission.
Tune in to Real Estate and Money every Tuesday afternoon from 2:30 to 3 here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Join your hosts Violetta Strash with John L. Scott Kent North and Tina Lombard with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. They'll help you navigate the waters of our volatile real estate market and offer you some guidance on how to make your hard-earned money work to make your dreams come true. Learn about current trends, get tips on financial matters, and have fun, interactive discussions about your home inside and out. That's Real Estate and Money.
The coronavirus is real. Let's be diligent about washing our hands. Did you know that this virus can live on surfaces for up to 9 days? That's why it's also important to disinfect things that an infected person might touch, like your cell phone. Even if you wash your hands often, when you pull out your phone, those germs go right back on your hands. When's the last time that you cleaned your phone? When the virus is spread by sneezing or coughing, those tiny airborne droplets eventually land on surfaces that you touch with your hands. On average, we touch our face 16 times an hour, which is why it's important to wash your hands and wipe down commonly used surfaces, including your cell phone. This message is a public service of Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Seattle band The Night Cry will be volunteering at the West Seattle Junction Beautification Project on Saturday, May 21st from noon to 2 p.m. as part of One Seattle Day of Service.
Rainier Avenue Radio.world is your 24/7 digital media hub. Tune in at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TuneIn apps.
Kami po ay magbabalik sa inyo lahat. Ito po ang Fil-Am Radio Show. Ito sa Seattle, Washington, USA. Ito po si Miles Salvador. At ang aking mga kasama.
Ako po si Kuya Bert Caoili.
And Vicky Navarro with our special guests, Franky and Katelynne. We thank you so much, and we returned from our commercial break. We do have some questions from Irving Mendoza. Before I go to my questions here, is TB more of the third world party disease than here in the U.S. as its originator? Thank you.
Katelynne.
Yeah. Tuberculosis is definitely more common in other parts of the world than it is in the United States, which I think is part of the reason that providers don't always think about it, because it's not as common in the United States.
Great.
Interesting.
Okay, and I have a question here. So if someone had TB in the past, does that person immune from having TB again?
Franky.
I believe there's still a chance of contracting TB, to be honest. I'm not sure how likely it is, but I believe there's still a chance of recontracting.
Okay. Yeah. And then Miss Katelynne, and what kind of tests? Is it blood tests? Is it, can you tell us how, when you go to the doctor, what kind of tests to find out if you have TB?
Yes, thank you for that question, because it's changed in sort of more recent history. So in the past, it used to be a skin test where they would put that little bubble in your arm. Mm-hmm. But that test reacts with if you got the TB vaccine, which is given in some countries to prevent against the worst form of TB in childhood. It's unfortunately a vaccine that doesn't prevent against lifelong acquiring TB, but The new test is a blood test, and that doesn't react with if you had that vaccine. So it actually shows if you have TB infection. So it's a much better test.
So, Katelynne, so the TB bacteria grows in the lung, and the symptoms can include like a bad cough that lasts 3 weeks or longer, pain in the chest, coughing up blood, weakness, they'll feel fatigue, and then you see some weight loss, chills, fevers, and night sweats. And then also I've did some research on TB, and sometimes does that affect the spine also with the stiff neck? What type of symptoms can you also tell us about TB during when it's infected?
Oh, that's a hard question. That might be beyond our expertise, but I think it, like you said, it can be in other parts of the body. Like it could be in the brain, it can be in the spine, it can be in, organs that are part of fertility. So I think depending on where it is, it can come with any type of symptoms, depending, so you can have infertility if that's where it's sort of taken up residence, or if it's in the brain, I think that there can be some confusion and other things like that. But I don't know.
So it's always, so it's not always in the lungs then, right?
No.
It could be, okay.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Vicky, Kuya Bert, and Katelynne and Franky, before we go back to you, I chose a special song regarding TB. So let's listen to Merle Haggard, Dirty TB Blues. Thank you, Danielle.
I got that old TB, I can't eat a bite. I got that old TB, I can't eat a bite. Got me where it's so, I can't even sleep at night. I've got the TB blues. Man, what an arm. When it rained down sorrow, it rained all over me. When it rained down sorrow, it rained all over me. On my body rattles like a train out on that old SP. All together, boys, here we go now. Louisiana, Joe Manuel on guitar. Gee, but the graveyard is a lonesome place. Lord, Lord. Lord, that old graveyard is a lonesome place. They put you on your back, throw that mud down in your face. All right, Don? My good gal's trying to make a fool out of me. Lord, my gal, trying to make a fool out of me. trying to make me believe I ain't got that old TB. I got the TB blues.
Yan po ang Dirty TV Blues by Merle Haggard. Ito po ang Fil-Am Radio Show. Ito po si Mel Salvador. Franky, we got a question for you. This from our program director, I think. Can cats or dogs get TB? Yeah.
I honestly do not know. That's never been brought up, so I honestly do not know. Katelynne, do you know?
Elephants can get TB, so there are some animals, and getting an elephant to produce what you need to treat it is, I've heard, quite gross. A lot of things have to come out of the trunk, but I don't know about cats and dogs.
Okay, there you go.
Interesting.
And Irving Mendoza is asking, does TB have different variants like COVID-19?
That is a great question. There are, yes, yes. There are, the short of the answer is yes, but I don't think it's kind of defined in the same way as COVID's been grouped into those, the names that we've heard in the news. They don't do that with TB, but they do look at the sequence of it and try to group them. So there's some degree of that, but we don't talk about different variants of TB in the same way.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful. I have a question here also. Overall, 5 to 10% infected persons who do not receive treatment for TB infections can develop to TB disease in some point in their lives. For persons who have weakened immune systems that are risk and much higher than people with normal immune systems. So if you have a weakened immune system, is it easier for someone to develop or get TB?
Franky.
I believe they're at a higher risk, right?
Okay.
These folks with compromised immune systems, and other conditions. Yeah, I believe they're at a higher risk.
Is that also with the elderly, or is it also with the people who live in a congregate setting, just like COVID? And is that some familiar type of way that that they are at risk?
Yes. Those settings that you included, the shelters, all these other congregate settings, even I think at work, hospitals. Working at hospitals, there's also a risk of contracting.
Okay,
wonderful.
TB.
Okay, Bert. Vicky. Okay, continue.
I mean, if you have a question there, I think we should start with the shout outs and the birthdays.
I was about to say that. You beat me. Yeah, okay, Bert, Katelynne, and Franky. So, Katelynne, do you have anybody to give a shout out?
Oh, well, she's not going to listen, but my baby turns 1 next week. So
yay, happy
shout out
birthday
to her.
Yeah, we'll play a birthday song later. Okay, yeah. And Franky?
I don't honestly know. My partner's birthday was a couple months ago, so I don't think nobody for me. But I want to take this, since I have this chance, I want to say happy early Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day, Katelynne and Vicky. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll do my birthday greetings first. Happy birthday today, Princess Sunny Guianan from Puerto Princesa City, Philippines. She'll be our guest for June 8th. And Attorney Angelita de Guzman of Quezon City, Philippines, May 5. Sindel Barola from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, May 5. Rona Tenorio from Dalby, Queensland, Australia, May 6. Tessie Barredo, sister of Bessie Barredo from Quezon City, Philippines, and Divine Grialis from Bigenden, Queensland, Australia, May 9. Kuya Bert or Vicky, do you have any?
Go ahead, Kuya Bert.
Yeah. In Malaysia, I'd like to just greet Josely Balino Ancheta, and from Waswell, Georgia, Ray Nicolas Takadon, and from Germany, my good friend Madeline Moritz Triller. And I'd like to say welcome home, Art Yusuf and Norma, who Art is recovering from his sickness. So with that, I'd like to also say thank you to all of those who attended the Lions luncheon installation of officers, and that includes you. Thank you very much, Vicky, for attending.
Pleasure.
Bobby Abutin, a lot of our Lions friends. So thank you very much for attending.
All right. I want to say, yes, happy Mother's Day to my mom, my beautiful mom, and my beautiful daughter. It's happy Mother's Day. And then I want to go over the birthdays. I have a list here. Carlos Navarro, Carol Augusto, Micah Navarro, Junior Ligo, Elise McCoy, Alwin Pizarro, Dion Constantino, Eric Yamada, happy birthday. Tua Mapu, Celia Snow, Jovi Joaquin, Edmund Basa, Victor Sapio, Noah Argento, Aman Deep Core. Happy birthday from our Fil-Am Radio. Thank you so much.
Irving Mendoza, my birthday shout out is to my son Jaylon this coming Sunday, May 8th, and happy advanced Mother's Day to all. And Tyler Parcher, thank you for watching. And with that, this is the lovingly dedicated to all birthday celebrants. Let's listen
happy birthday, Ian. Mama loves you.
Today birthday to you. Best happy birthday video song. Thank you, Danielle.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
NorbCam, come.
happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Yan po ang today, birthday to you. Lovingly dedicated to all birthday celebrants.
And that includes,
Back to you, Kuya Bert.
That includes the cat of our good friend Danielle, who turns 2 on Sundays, it says.
Happy birthday.
Okay, welcome back, Norm.
And there's Norm.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Nice to see all of you.
Katelynne and Franky, Norm is our part of the team, and he reports mostly on this what's happening, especially in the sports world or the Seahawks.
And he is
right.
Kuya Bert's son. Norb is Kuya Bert's son, Caitlin and Frankie. Yeah.
So go ahead,
Okay.
Norb. You have good news for everybody in the sports world.
All right, we jumping right into it now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay. So at this point, it's been an exciting lead up to last week in the Seahawks world, as last week was the NFL draft. For those of you who don't really follow the draft is that time of year where it's off season and every team gets a chance to pick from the talent that's coming out of the college scene. And so the Seahawks, as all of us know here in Seattle, Russell Wilson was traded to the Denver Broncos, which was, I'm still trying to get over that. I don't know if I ever will, but I'm working on it. But in exchange, we did get a few high-end draft picks. So we did get a first-round pick and a second-round pick and a pick for next year and some players. So our draft became more interesting because now we suddenly had the ability to pick some players from up in the higher end, which we haven't done in a long time because the Seahawks have been in the playoffs almost every single year. And when you do that, you don't get to pick at the top. You have to pick kind of in the lower side. So this is the first time since 2010 we got to pick in the top 10 of the draft. So a lot of anticipation as to what would the Seahawks do with that draft pick. So I'm going to show you a little clip of I was there at the Seahawks draft party on the first day of the draft. And this is what the vibe kind of looked like. Check it out.
What's up, everybody? NorbCam coming at you.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, it's always nice when the internet connects works well for you. Okay, well, that's not working so good. All right, well, we'll go back to we'll just go back without the clip here. So I will just wanted to show you a little bit about what we did do since my video is not working. We had a great time at the Seahawks official draft party. It was at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in the south end of Lake Washington. And so they really just, we were there for the first round pick, but we ended up getting 9 players altogether. So this is the player that we chose. In the first round, we picked at number 9, we picked up Charles Cross, an offensive tackle from Mississippi State. So it was good. Our offensive line has needed some help, so we had Charles Cross. Pretty excited about that. And then in the second round, we picked up what I was hoping we would do, an edge rusher from Minnesota, Boye Mafe, with the 40th pick. So we got an edge rusher to help with the defense. And then we went to our other pick back-to-back. We were able to pick. We got Kenneth Walker, an outstanding, one of the best running backs in the draft. Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. So he's going to be an exciting one to watch next year in the offense, especially with Chris Carson's health uncertain and Rashad Penny also injury prone. So this guy's going to be huge. Then we went to Washington State, got a tackle from him. So we got more help on the offensive line in the third round. In the fourth round, we picked a cornerback, which is another position of need, Kobe Bryant, whose parents named him after the late Kobe Bryant of the Lakers. He spells it differently though, C-O-B-Y, Kobe Bryant. So we got a cornerback there, and then went again and got another cornerback, Tariq Woolen, who is made a lot of comparisons to Richard Sherman. He's tall like him, but he's super fast. He runs a 4.2 something 40, one of the fastest guys in the draft. So very excited about this potential guy. And then we went in the fifth round. We got Tyreek Smith, another edge rusher to give the Seahawks pass rush more help. And then finally in the seventh round, we went back-to-back wide receivers, Bo Melton from Rutgers and Derek Young from Lenoir Rhine. So pretty exciting. I thought it was a fantastic draft for Seattle. Just great players in positions that we needed. So it's great to see running back, pass rush, offensive line, cornerback. I'm really excited. So we'll see what these guys look like and which ones are going to make it to make the team and make the starting positions. But it's going to be pretty exciting come September when the games start up and which of these guys are going to stand up and be noticed. So it's a pretty good draft, though. A lot of people in the Seahawks nation very excited about what the Seahawks did in this draft. So flipping to the Mariners side of things, unfortunately, we've had a tough road trip. We've been losing some games here, below 500 on the road, trying to finish up this road trip against our rival Houston Astros. They had a game tonight, and then they finally finish later this week, and then they come home for a homestand. But it's been pretty rough. The offensive the offense of the Mariners has not been there. The bats have kind of dried up, and hopefully they can get things going again. But it's been a little bit of a rough stretch for the good old Mariners. And that's pretty much it for the sports update.
Okay, thank you, Norb.
You bet.
Going back to this TV thing, I remember years ago, everyone who got, I would say, to the chance to go to the United States, we always carried an X-ray. And you will notice that I'm sure that many of our listeners who came from the Philippines, they always had an X-ray copy of, I guess, of their lungs, in order to be able to enter the United States. So I just thought I'll let you know that, because at that time I think TB was always a concern. So for people who might be coming to the United States. So I thought, I don't know, I'm sure Irving Mendoza, when he came here, or maybe Efren Pasqua, when he came here years ago, they had their own X-rays copies. Isn't that, Kathleen? That was something that was prevalent during those times. I don't know if they still do that, though.
Yeah, good memory. Yeah, they do still do that. So anyone that comes on a refugee or immigrant visa will have an overseas evaluation with an X-ray. They don't check them for TB infection, so they're just looking for active TB disease, but we do still have people that arrive with those X-rays. Some of them are digital now, which is great, but some people still have the hard copy like you described.
Irving Mendoza have a question here. Between TB and COVID, which is more serious of the two?
Well, you're talking to the tuberculosis program, so we would definitely advocate for tuberculosis. I mean, they're very different. I think tuberculosis is you need to take medication if you have active TB disease in order to be cured from it. So, some people are able to recover from COVID, but if you have active TB disease, you have to take medications, and at a minimum, it's 6 months. So it is a long course of medications. It's multiple medications. So I think it probably depends on what you use to define that, but definitely tuberculosis is very concerning and needs to be treated if it's in its active state. And we would like also in its infection to prevent that from happening.
Perfect. All right. So Ted, do you want to go over your COVID information, Ted?
So Miles?
Oh, Miles. If not, I can go over a real quick question here. What happened if a person is infected in the early stages, right? The TB infection, and they decided not to get treatment. What would happen if a person does not take treatment for TB in the first stages of TB infection? Thank you, Katelynne.
So two things can happen. One, it doesn't develop into TB disease, right? It's been seen that some folks just live with the infection and don't develop disease later in life. But some do later develop into TB disease. So we're always going to be encouraging folks to take preventive treatment, right, to prevent TB disease.
Okay. And then I have another question here. If it's an infection, it won't be able to spread to others at that time, right? Only if it is it comes to a disease. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect.
So what does King County, or what does your department offer to those who would like to get help?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now, we're a very small clinic. And so we focus our care on people that have active TB disease in the lungs, or those individuals that are coming over, like you described, with their x-rays from overseas. And if those were abnormal, we provide follow-up testing for them. And then anyone that's a contact to someone who has active TB disease, we provide screening and follow-up for them. But we estimate that lots of people have TB infection far beyond what we could do at our clinic. And so we're really trying to raise awareness in the community, both from community members, but also doctors, so that doctors will offer testing and treatment follow-up. So any doctor should be able to offer those to people seeking those tests. So that's what we're encouraging people to do, though we are always here as a resource.
So, have you seen any problems as far as TB is concerned with all of those, I would say, the Latin countries coming in, Ukraine coming in? Has there been any problem lately?
That is such a good question. We've just learned about what will happen with Ukrainian refugees that are coming to the United States. They're not going to be given access to benefits or to screenings. They're going to the follow-up is going to be put on them to try to navigate when they get to whatever destination they're going to. But we don't know yet. That we know that people will be coming from Ukraine does have a high incidence of TB disease, but we don't know what that's going to mean locally or within the United States.
Interesting.
Here's a question from Irving Mendoza. Of all the countries in the world, which country ranks number one with TB, and where does the U.S. Is placed with TB?
Ooh, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head. I know the Philippines is the 4th highest TB incidence in the world. I'm not sure what country is number 1, but the U.S. is very low.
Okay.
Yeah, excuse me. It's time for our second station break. So stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Hi, Auntie. Thank you for watching. Mary, thank you for watching.
Radio.world.
Northwest Film Forum's Collective Power Fund is now open for grant applications. Grants are starting at $2,000 up to $10,000 for individual or artist collectives. The annual grant cycle focuses primarily on supporting art that incites public dialogue, pushes boundaries, explores genre fluidity, speaks its truth through an authentic perspective, and is often non-traditional, anti-institutional, socially responsible, or disruptive of any existing structures and conventions. Learn more and apply at collectivepowernw.org.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. I'm Granville Emerson along with my partner, Ronald Pepe. And we host the show Little Line Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, where we talk about football, basketball, local sports, national sports, Seahawks, UW, Seattle U Red Hawks, Garfield Bulldogs, all that and more right here on Little Line Sports on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Don't spread COVID-19. If you're a young adult and you get the coronavirus, you might be okay. You may not even have symptoms, but if you give it to your grandmother, who gives it to your grandfather, before you know it, you can wipe out a whole generation. When it comes to the coronavirus, you have to think about who you might infect. So practice social distancing, avoid crowds, wash your hands, and if you have the option to stay home, just stay home. Do your part and help limit the spread of COVID-19. This message is a public service of Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Greetings. This is your host, DJ Neftali, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the best DJ in the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Neftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Come on, right?
Sa Washington, karamihan ay sang-ayon na ang ating kalsada ay ligtas pag isinangtabi ang telepono. Pero hindi ito madali. Ibahagi ang mensahe ito at maging halimbawa. Bago umalis, ilagay ang telepono sa glove box. Iset sa do not disturb. Ikayate ng mga kaibigan at pamilya na gawin din ito. Dahil pag ginawa ang parte natin, ang kalsada ay ligtas para sa lahat. Sabay tayong makakarating doon. Isang mensahe mula sa Washington Traffic Safety Commission.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue.world.
Kami po ay magbabalik sa inyo lahat. Ito po ang Fil-Am Radio Show. Ito po si Salvador. At aking mga kasama.
Ako po si Kuya Bert Caoili.
And Vicky Navarro with our special guests, Franky and Katelynne from Public Health, Seattle and King County.
And Norb.
And I am Norb Caoili, also known as NorbCam, talking sports and other things.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
So it looks like Katelynne said that India is the country with the most TB. And I have a question here regarding.
Okay, Bert, is it okay if we go back to our special guest?
That's what I think Vicky has a question now for.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I have a question regarding the spread. How is tuberculosis spread? Is it, it says here, just in the air, right? When a person has TB disease through cough, sneezes, speaks, or sings, and the bacteria goes in the air. And it says here that when someone has TB and they spread it, it stays in the air for how many hours? Several hours in the air. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think it can hang in the air for a little while. I don't know the exact time, but then it sort of drops to the ground. So we typically consider the exposure when the person's actively there and coughing, and not after the fact. So the person needs to be present who's actively sick to be worried about the spread of TB.
All right, thank you so much.
And like you said, right, it's spread through the air, right, from one person to another. So also, I think it's also important to point out that TB is not spread by shaking someone's hand or kissing or sharing food or things like that, right? But then again, if you're doing all that, you're kind of in close contact with that person you're breathing the same air. So also things to consider.
Okay.
So it's not as contagious as COVID.
No.
Definitely less likely to get it through the same channels.
Yeah, we this is informal, but we look at the space that you spent time with the person before they were diagnosed with the disease, and then how many hours you were in that space. And both of those things factor into whether we even consider you being a contact, but it's hours, it's not minutes. So it's definitely less contagious than COVID or like measles. It takes more sustained exposure.
Okay.
I guess we have to watch out for people who are coughing too much for a long time, because that's the only, I would say, physical symptom that we could, expect. And I still think that we should continue wearing the mask, especially when, like you said, when a confined space and with many people maybe coughing. Boy, that's scary. And we don't even know if it's COVID or TB. Yeah.
I have one question before I talk about my community news. Is it more expensive for treatment for the TB? Is it expensive to do? Is it what kind of treatment are we looking at and when you are infected? So what does that look like? And is that something that they have to treat at home, or is it something they have to be in the hospital for? Thank you so much.
Yeah, so for TB infection, you can be treated at home. The treatment's typically between 3 to 4 months, but your doctor can prescribe that, and the cost probably will vary depending on your insurance or the community provider you're going to. There's, sometimes a sliding scale. For TB disease, the cost is covered if you have pulmonary TB by the public health department. So that's at no expense to the patient, but for treating TB infection, there might be a cost if insurance doesn't cover it all.
Okay, so I'm going to go over some community news, and we'll be right back with our special guest today. So this Friday, I will be at Church for All Nations in Tacoma doing our free food distribution. We will be able to serve our community starting at 9 o'clock with the Lend a Hand Community Outreach. This was last week as I go out in the community serving individual families. So we had bread. We had other goodies there, groceries, Danielle. We also have our Ate Delor also serving our communities here in Auburn. So the other Lend a Hand families serve all over the state, and we want to thank. We had salad and lettuce. Lettuce, and we had other few families who we serve. We serve the seniors here in Seattle, Washington. So I go around the state from Kitsap, Everett, Tacoma, and we'll be back in King County in Auburn soon. So we just took some time off serving in the public due to and there's Auntie. Thank you so much. Yes, we serve our seniors here in Seattle also. So look for us this week in Church for All Nations. And yes, if you still need COVID-19 home test kits, PPE, mask, please direct message me on Vicky Navarro on Facebook. Yes, thank you so much. So yes. Yeah, and I served about 50 individuals on Saturday, just Saturday itself. So there I go. Yep. So, and usually our food distributions out in the public, we serve about 1,000 individuals per event. So I'm out there in the field 7 days a week, making sure we take care of our families and communities.
Very good job there. I think we lost Miles, whatever, and when she comes back, she'll be a little delayed, Then we're going back to this TV problem.
Do you want to go over your COVID information there?
Yeah, this is a very short one. This is the latest updates from coronavirus from COVID-19 Information Center, Queensland, Australia. The total cases is 1,749 daily new cases, and then United States 81,444,332. The daily new cases is 747,460, and the Philippines, the total cases is 3,686,082. The daily new cases is 2,871. So the global total cases is 483,452,773, and the daily new cases is 291,751. Yan po ang latest updates from coronavirus from COVID-19 Information Center. And with that, let's listen to If You Really Ain't Had COVID a Christmas parody. Thank you, Danielle.
So you're living all alone and you got nowhere to go. You're knitting on your own and you got nowhere to go. You're sitting all alone and you got nowhere to go. You're working on your own and you got nowhere to go. Don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want to get that COVID now. Don't want to sick it, sick. If you really ain't had COVID, you really ain't got no friends. No one has come over. You're all alone instead. If you really ain't had COVID, you're a hermit kid. Where have you been hiding if you ain't had it yet? You got your shot and booster, you're triple vaxxed, and you ain't never seen without full masks. You don't go shopping, don't go outside, and you don't hang out unless it's all online. So you're living all alone and you got nowhere to go. You're knitting on your own and you got nowhere to go. Don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want to get that COVID now. Don't want to sick it, sick. If you really ain't had COVID, you really ain't got no friends. No one has come over. You're all alone instead. If you really ain't had COVID, you're a hermit kid. Where have you been hiding if you ain't had it yet? Or do you want to congrats for your immunity of steel? Say you can handle that strain. Are you for real? You're looking pasty, need some sunlight, and I think it's time for you to get alive. So you're living all alone and you got nowhere to go. You're knitting on your own and you got nowhere to go. Don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want to get that COVID now. Don't want no sick, sick. So here's the story from A to Z. You need to see some friends because you need it desperately. You spent years being safe for hiding in your space. You've had no Rona and you're rubbing in our face like, hey, we get it, you're okay. And as for me, how Florona got me. Shut the COVID down and hug it all around. Shut the COVID down and hug it all around. If you really ain't had COVID, you really ain't got no friends. No one has come over. You're all alone instead. If you really ain't had COVID, you're a hermit kid. Where have you been hiding if you ain't had it yet? If you really ain't had COVID, you gotta cough. Shut the COVID down and hug it all around. Shut the COVID down and hug it all around. Cough. Shut the COVID down and hug it all around. Shut the COVID down like sick and sick. If you really ain't had COVID.
All right. You know, it's kind of interesting that with all the numbers that Miles reported, it seems like we keep saying that the COVID is now kind of, getting past this pandemic stage, and we could let go of the masking. I'm really surprised, but it seems like the numbers are increasing instead of decreasing. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't think I should stop wearing a mask. Now with the TV pandemic also. Yeah. So what do you think, Miles? Is it getting smaller? This COVID-19?
No, it's higher. Actually, Australia is worse than United States and Philippines now. Yeah. Before, we really doesn't, for 1 year, we don't have much, but it just went up. And I'm only reporting for Queensland. The whole Australia is more, it's a lot, yeah.
I think it's the same thing here in the United States. And I'm surprised that now the government is saying, we should relax on this mandate, mask mandate. And so people are now openly roaming the streets, restaurants without any mask. What do you think, Katelynne?
I think you bring up a good point. It is interesting with the COVID numbers where they are, what the guidance is around masking. That's out of our shop, but personally, I'm, the numbers are definitely that they're going up is concerning to me too.
Yeah, and we have a couple questions here from Irving Mendoza. Of all the nationalities, who contracts TB the most? That's one question, Katelynne. And then Franky, are there more symptoms in TB than in COVID? Thank you so much.
I can take the first one. Locally, we look at country of birth for the cases of active TB disease that we have, and frequently the countries of birth are India, Vietnam, the Philippines, Ethiopia. So it varies a little bit year to year, but those tend to be 4 of our top countries of birth for individuals locally that are having active TB disease.
And Franky, what is are there more symptoms in TB than in COVID?
To be honest, I'm not sure. But then again, this sounds like a good chance to share again, right? If you're concerned about signs or symptoms, I think the three main ones to look out for. I don't know if I should call them main ones, but it's like bad coughing that lasts 3 weeks or longer, maybe if you're coughing up blood, and pain in the chest. So these are common symptoms with TB disease. Even sweating at night, night sweats, if you have night sweats. So these can be signs or symptoms that you can be on the lookout for if you're concerned about TB.
Wonderful. I have a couple questions, Franky and Katelynne. What interested you in getting into your role right now as research and intervention about TB? Where your role is? Why does this interest you?
For me personally, my home country, the Marshall Islands, is also a country that's been affected by TB. So I figured this would be a good chance for me to help my community, to work with my community. Pretty much I see it as a good way to connect with my family, get paid while I'm getting connected with my community, right? So there's some passion there to help my community.
Yeah. My background before this was as an epidemiologist. So I was doing a lot on the data side, but also one of my roles while in that position was leading contact and congregate setting investigations. So, I was doing some of that community education and outreach. And so my new role in this new unit focused on community TB prevention really comes from thinking that I think awareness and like empowerment for the community is vital for us to really get at TB infection. And I think we are, we're public health, but we're really focused on TB disease and contacts, and this opportunity to focus on upstream events with the infection is just so amazing. And I really like working with communities and providers, and just think it's a really interesting opportunity to grow the work that we do.
Is it about time now to be able to kind of market this drive against TB? Instead of just COVID, maybe King County Public Health could start putting up ads as far as TB is concerned, because people have forgotten about this now. And we're so glad that you could join us and kind of awaken us again on this subject. And that is really, considering it's one of the worst communicable diseases, I think, and I will persuade, maybe ask you to have public health, King County Public Health, talk more about this, put more ads. So you think that can happen?
I think it's a great suggestion, and we would love to do that. We are exploring all ways to, like you said, sort of raise awareness around it. So I think whatever marketing we can do, I think if there's any community organizations that are willing to partner with us, we would love to do that. This opportunity today was amazing, and we're so glad that you invited us on, because we are looking for any way to get out in the community a little bit more. So we would love to hear from you too on opportunities to do that.
Mm-hmm. And Miles is gone because of our continuing internet problems. But
I'm at the back. Yeah.
at this time, it's about time that we kind of say our goodbyes, because we're going to be playing.
I'm back.
It's kind of amazing. I can't believe the Australian internet is having so much problem. Every time at this hour, about this time, she disappears. I'm glad that she's here. But anyway, Miles, I was saying that it's our time now to say goodbye.
Thank you, Katelynne and Franky, for gracing our program. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys being able to spend some time with us. We have a different way. Our program is different in a sense that it's not mostly just interviews, because that can be very boring. So we have our program that we have the news, we have our sports, we have all our songs, and we enjoy doing this for the community. But anyway, again, I think we're ready for the closing.
Yeah, maybe
song.
Katelynne and Franky can say
Thank you, guys.
can say their goodbye.
Yeah, why don't you do that, Katelynne? Say your last words.
Yeah, I just thank you so much. Your show is amazing. This was an incredible opportunity, and it was.
Okay, our closing song is "When the Heart Breaks."
Well, it's gonna be delayed.
When the Heart Breaks by.
Go ahead, Katelynne. Sorry.
No, I just thank you so much. It was a great opportunity, and your show is wonderful and very joyful and informative, and really appreciate you taking the time to sit with us. And Franky.
Right. I agree with everything that Katelynne said. Thank you for the opportunity, and go Hawks.
There you go. Yeah, hey, Franky, if you haven't subscribed to NorbCam yet, you should.
I should. Yeah,
NorbCam.
Lots of Seahawks entertainment updates on my NorbCam social media and YouTube. So go check it out.
One of the
Question for you guys before you guys go. Does wearing a mask in the same way that we try to prevent getting COVID, is it just as effective from preventing TB as well?
I'm not sure that it is necessarily just as effective, but it does have some efficacy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was going to ask Katelynne or say, I saw the name of Silly Calepo.
Mm-hmm. That's my project monitor. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Silly for being the contact to have Franky and Katelynne on our show.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Miles?
Yeah.
Shall we play the closing song now? Because it's almost...
Yeah. Our closing song is "When the Heart Breaks" by lyrics by Isa Bray, music by Boots Montserrat. Thank you, Danielle. When the Heart Breaks. Oh, dear.
Once we were lovers, the best of friends. We vowed to stay together until the bitter end. Can you tell me what happened? What made you forget? And was it all worth it for someone you just met? Why didn't we matter? Now hope is gone. Did you find someone better? Or was it all just fun? Was it all worth it? How you carried on. Now it's too late. The damage is done. 'Cause when the heart breaks, it's hard to mend.
Yan po ang When the Heart Breaks by Isa Bray. I want to say hello and thank you for watching Princess Gianan all the way from Puerto Princesa, Palawan, Philippines. She'll be our special guest on June 8. Ang bilis po ng ating orasan. Ako po magpapaalam na sa inyo lahat. Samahan po natin si Kuya Bert sa kanyang huling panalangin sa araw na ito.
Let's bow our heads. Ama namin, purihin ang iyong pangalan. Nagpupuri po kami at nagpapasalamat sa mga dakilang biyaya, buhay, lakas at subaybay na ipinagkaloob mo sa amin. Mula sa oras na ito hanggang sa wakas ng aming buhay. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Norbert, and thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Bert. Have a good afternoon and take care.
All right. Thank you. Tyler, thanks for watching. And everybody.